Good evening, everyone. Excellence in everything we do. In 2017, I joined the Psi Tetraton charge at the University of Arizona. The charge was on the verge of being removed from campus and being completely suspended in the future. The charge needed a new leader. And seeing as though I was only a newly initiated member, like maybe some of you in this room, I had a very individualistic attitude at the time, at which I will later explain why. But I knew this new leader was not going to be me. That is when a Psi Tetraton brother by the name of Austin Moe asked to speak with me on the side. He told me of his intention to run for president of the charge, and he asked me what I thought about his motto for what he was going to do, which was excellence in everything we do. He looked me in the eyes and told me he couldn't do it by himself, and that he needed someone to help him in his pursuit. We spoke about how the only way to make this motto transform the charge was through mentorship, and how we needed to mentor each member of the charge to make this transformation successful. I listened attentively, and ever since then, I have constantly been following the saying, excellence in everything we do. You see, mentorship too often is played off as this simple concept, a concept restricted to those who have had long, successful careers or to those who are on the latter years of their life. I remember as an 18 to 21-year-old myself, mentorship really meant nothing to me. There was no way that someone, and I'll admit it, there was no way that someone was going to convince me to take the time out of my fraternity fund to mentor others. Quite the contrary to this simple belief, mentorship is actually quite complex and has been used in vain and destroyed by society for quite some time. To give you an extreme example, it is the word used by cult leaders and foreign corrupt dictators like the one of my family's national country, Venezuela, to lure followers in and substantiate their human rights atrocities. Giving you a more personal example, it is the word that my pastor used when I was a child to substantiate his message that all LGBTQ plus people would go to hell, and that women, like my mother, were only meant for their home. It is the word that my teachers would look at me as I went to a small public high school in the Bronx in New York City. Because of that, my teachers and my guidance counselors would look at me and tell me, "You think you're going to graduate from high school? No way. Let alone go to college. You've got to be joking." And to be even more fun with you, it is the word that my father used at a young age to substantiate his abuse on me and my mother, and how he justified, in his own mind, leaving us when she got sick. Even today, in the legal industry, it is how my fellow attorneys justify toxic behavior in a variety of ways. You see, this mentorship, this definition of mentorship, is one I carried for a very long time. And I hope you all are open to my vulnerability here. As when I was 14, my mother had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. At that point, many people would probably fold. However, I decided that I was going to be the man of my household. I got a full-time job outside of school, and I took 100% care of my mother and her illness, even to this day. However, that might all sound good, and that might all sound inspiring. But throughout that time, I hated people. I hated the world, and I definitely didn't think I needed anyone's mentorship. I thought I had it all figured out. I despised human connection, and I resented those who tried to preach me on its importance. This is the attitude that I kept for a very long time. And even into my first year as a member, of this organization. That is until I was initiated and I met the person, the active member at the time, who would change my perception of what the definition of mentorship is. And that was a brother from the Psi Tetraton charge named Austin Moe. Austin was never like any other mentor in my life. I vividly remember jumping out of my comfort zone and announcing to the charge that my mother had been diagnosed and that I was going through a very hard time. And considering my attitude at the time, I let the charge know that I wanted to be alone. Everyone else simply gave me a pat on the back and believed me, left me alone. Austin was different. Austin hugged me. He hugged me close, and he assured me that no matter what, he was going to be there for me. He was the only brother that day in that room that did that for me. And from that day on, both our lives changed. And I think for the last 5 or so years, we've served as mentors to each other every day. We've supported each other in our times of need and when our families needed our support. We tackled challenges together that really no one should have to ever face in their life. We offered emotional support and humanity to the members of the charge, and we supported each other's career goals. Finally, we took the Psi Tetraton charge from nearly being suspended from campus to winning the Victory Cup in 3 years. Our symbolic mentorship relationship has continued even now when I live in Chicago and he lives all the way over here in Arizona. We celebrate each other's victories and we provide support upon our failures. However, this is not to say we always agreed. There are many times that I remember getting in disagreements with Austin. However, it was always the disagreements that drew us closer, as there was always the respect of being brothers to each other that carried the conversation. Now, ever since joining the Grand Lodge when I was a senior as an undergraduate, I've now did that term as undergraduate at large, and now I've been graduate secretary for the last 2 years, and I'm sad to say I will not be continuing, but I've been able to witness firsthand the power of mentorship that this organization holds. People like Brian, Jim, Kay, Stephen, Adam, James, they gave me the father figure and the mentorship that I needed in my life. I have grown tremendously in my love for this organization, and also I have grown in how I think about my goals in a productive way, and I have also now even further understood the true importance of having a mentor. For all the undergraduates and alumni in this room who have not taken advantage of the positive mentorship this organization holds, I strongly encourage you to do so. It might just change your life. I remember when I first got my job working at a corporate law firm in M&A in Chicago. And as some of you may know, that industry can be extremely demanding. One of the partners at the firm told me, a mentor should never be your friend because they will not be able to give it to you straight. However, it is after I discovered this true meaning of mentorship based on my friendship with Austin and my other relationships in this organization that I found that a friend is never really your friend unless they give it to you straight. And then by definition, a mentor is a friend. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. I am blessed to have had many positive mentors now in my career who exhibit the qualities that truly identify with the true meaning of mentorship. I remember when I was tasked on my first big deal and my boss told me, let's go do this together, not you go do it. How powerful it is when someone says let's. Today, on a very emotional weekend for me, is the day that I turned 23. And now that my term on the Grand Lodge has ended, I have thought carefully about my role in this organization. I am often asked by both undergraduate and alumni brothers how they can support the organization outside of taking executive positions in the time that takes. And my answer will always be to all of you. Positive mentorship will transform this organization into embracing the motto, excellence in everything we do. I challenge each and every one of you to think about the mentors in your life who support you and who have brought you to where you are and who did not push you down, but instead brought you up. Now that you've identified those people, make sure to give thanks. However, the best way to thank a mentor is to pay it forward by becoming a mentor yourself. We all have improved and reformed, and what I ask in each and every one of you is to improve and reform others. Who around you needs help? How are you passing on the growth that this organization has blessed you with? Brian always told me, surround yourself with excellence and you will achieve excellence. All of you in this room are excellent, and I ask that you be open to being around people who need your excellence. Think about those around you who you need to bring up. I ask you not to think about the amazing group of brothers who are clearly leaders in this room, but the brothers outside of this room who are struggling, without jobs, facing sadness, and need your help. Remember, the only way to really encapsulate what being a Theta Delta is like is to be excellent in everything that we do.